Good morning and welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter or X handle. And as you can see, I'm joined by Herald sports writer Graeme McGarry. He's doing his Gazzetta dello Sport in Rome. There he is. Indeed, wonderful backdrop there. But thank you for joining us, Graeme, live from Rome. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, Tony. I've had worse Monday mornings, I've got to be honest with you, mate. Get the panting in the background here. Unfortunately, couldn't get a Herald anywhere, but I've got a Gazzetta, so we're all right.
I used to work for the Gazzetta dello Sport in Paisley. You know, the Paisley Gazette. Paisley Gazette it was called, and that's what I used to call it, the Paisley Gazzetta dello Sport. But there you go. It's wonderful to have you with us. We'll talk everything Celtic in a couple of seconds. But first and foremost, you know what we're going to do. We have to big up our sponsors. And the morning briefing is brought to you by MPH Group, and they're Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist covering all of mainland Scotland. And every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway. And you could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. And with winter rolling in, if you're thinking of giving your home heating system a boost, MPH has an exciting Navian boiler winter promotion. And if you opt for a Navian boiler installation through MPH Boilers, you're choosing top-tier efficiency, and you're also getting a free Navian internet controller. And that little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And they're also covering the first year service with no added costs. And MPH even offer flexible finance options. So if you're gearing up for the winter chill, consider making a smart move with MPH and Navian, and you'll find all the links to MPH's social media sites and telephone number in the description of this video. And also, we are still doing our Black Friday deal, guys. £12 for 12 months of access to everything on the website. It's the Black Friday deal. It's the best ever deal. And hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. It's running all week. It ends on Friday. As we say, it's our best ever deal. £12 for 12 months of access, which we think is outstanding value. So hit that subscribe button, guys. And for those of you that have, we say thank you. For our existing subscribers, we say thank you. It means the world to us. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Now, Graeme, you were at Celtic Park on Saturday.
I was, yes.
And you saw Celtic spill 2 points. Celtic won, Motherwell won. But no damage done because of the result yesterday. So I think in all ways Celtic got out of jail at the weekend. Yeah. Did they not? In many ways.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stodgy performance for me. And I think it is a wee bit of a concern that the football wasn't quite as slick as maybe it had been against Aberdeen. I think Motherwell sat obviously in a very low block. They had 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 10 men behind the ball, and Celtic found it very difficult to kind of get through that. I don't think they created a lot of clear-cut chances. I think the 2 best saves that Liam Kelly made were from Motherwell players.
Yes.
So, yeah, a wee bit disappointing. The penalty curse as well continues when David Turnbull's not in the park, and he's even missed one this year. So, yeah, so it's all in all, I thought it was just a wee bit stodgy, a wee bit pedestrian, and I think it raised some concerns about maybe the attacking depth that Celtic have got, and especially in the wide areas.
You touched upon the penalties there, Graeme. Does Harry Kewell bring them all and take them all aside and say, right, this is how to take a penalty this week?
Well, clearly not. I don't really know what they're doing. It's funny because Callum McGregor said at the weekend it's getting to the point where he might have to put his hand up and he's getting a bit worried about it. So even Big Carter Vickers was saying he might have to go up and have a blast. So it's just a strange phenomenon to miss 3 penalties out of 7, I think it is. You know, it's so especially when you get so many good technical football players in the team and some good finishers as well. Really strange, but I mean, surely it'll level out over the course of the season, I guess. But I mean, as they say, but yeah, I mean, it's something that Celtic, when they're in games like that, if they got that goal when Lewis Palmer hits the penalty, they're probably going to win that game quite handily. Yeah. But when the goal came, obviously Motherwell replied straight away, and then Celtic really had no time to do anything about it. So That's a wee bit of concern, but I'm sure they will be practising it at Lennoxtown this week just in case.
Now, the title of the briefing is Brendan Rodgers style of play nullifying Kyogo. Now, I brought that because you mentioned a stat to me off air, which was intriguing to me, and you said that one of the stats was that Kyogo touched the ball 5 times in the first half on Saturday. And that's quite startling, isn't it? And I would say to you, it's okay if 5 of those touches, or 2 of them are goals because he's getting clear-cut chances, but he's not at the minute, is he? And sometimes he can be missing in action in games, basically because he's not getting service and he's playing this new role.
Yeah, this was a live topic at the start of the season as well, if you remember, Tony. He was having to drop deeper into kind of areas where you don't really want Kyogo to be, and it's obviously reared its head again because he's not been in sparkling form, I guess, by his standards this season. And I guess it's how much of that is down to his movement, how much of it is down to what Brendan Rodgers is doing with his setup. And I think one of the real problems on Saturday was the 2 wide men, Palma and Yang, were cutting inside far too much. Very rarely were they getting to the byline. And if you remember Kyogo last year when he was so effective, there was a lot of that kind of wingers getting to the byline and that little cutback. And Kyogo was always there. He scored a similar goal against Aberdeen in the 6-0 game. But I think it was Yang on that occasion got to the byline. But on Saturday, the Motherwell fullbacks were showing them inside all the time, and it meant that there was no real service coming into Kyogo. So I tend to be in the camp where I feel as if it's not really Kyogo's fault. I think the way the team's set up at the moment doesn't play to his strengths, and that's a concern because he's such a reliable, outlet for goals. It has been for 2 years now, So to set up your team not to play to maybe arguably your best player's strength, I think that's a wee bit kind of, I don't know, it's a wee bit worrying that they're not getting the best out of him anyway.
Now, in my younger, more vulnerable days, I played as a striker, and strikers don't care about anything else other than scoring goals. They don't care if they're involved in the build-up play, and assists are good and all that, Graeme, but they just want to score goals. And I'm of the opinion, and I've said it many times on this briefing, I just want Kyogo to play where he's most effective, and that's hurting opposition players, playing on the shoulder of the last defender, making those near post runs. I just don't like him 30 yards for a goal. I've voiced my concern about it on this. I'm not questioning Brendan Rodgers at all because he knows more about football than I ever will, but to me, you have a potent asset and a weapon up front, and he's shown that with his 2 seasons before in his returning goal. You said there you have to cater to a player to that and play to his strengths because that's where he comes alive. And I think he's not alive 30 yards from goal. And I just think that something has to give here in terms of Kyogo because, you can't have him cutting a forlorn figure on a football park because he is happy when he's doing what he does best, and that's scoring goals.
Yeah, I think what you have to say is, though, the caveat would be that Celtic are missing Rio Hatate at the moment, who was very good at finding him with those 2 balls, and they're also missing Dejan Maeda, who, for all that he frustrates me at times in terms of his end product, he runs in behind all the time and he gets to these wide areas and gets close to the byline, and that's a rich source of chances for Kyogo as well. So I think for Celtic, that is a big problem at the moment. That the guys they've got coming in aren't quite at that level, and they're not producing the chances for Kyogo. So I think there's a bit of that as well. I think some of it is to do with the system. I think also some of it is to do with personnel and the fact that Hatate and Maeda currently are out of the team. I think Kyogo's the man who's suffering the most from that.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think Kyogo is suffering the most from that. But I've always been an advocate of Kyogo just doing what he does best. And I've said it before, I've said it again, I'm not happy with him playing with his back to goal. He has to play as far forward as you can go. And, I get what Brendan Rodgers is trying to do with him and get more out of him. And I fully understand all that. But I just think I've always said players have a natural position for a reason, Graeme. And he is just a natural poacher and finisher of goals when he gets to service. And I think, as you said there's a lot of caveats to it. They're missing Hatate and they're maybe not catering to his strengths, but his biggest strength is that he knows where the back of the net is. So why not play him like a guy who knows where the back of the net is? Because he is starting to look a bit lost. And I'm not saying he's not contributing. He can't contribute because he's not getting involved, because he's not been given the ball to get involved. 5 touches in the first half is, that tells you something, doesn't it? It's not working. That would say to me with Kyogo.
I actually thought in the second half, at the start of the second half, you could see he was dropping a bit deeper to try and get involved in the game. He had the one where he sort of set the chance up, where he ran from kind of midway point in the Motherwell half. And you're saying he's the one who should be on the end of that chance, rather than the one playing the pass.
Yeah, very much
and
so.
I just don't know. I think he's got the ability to do that. However, as you say, to get the best out of Kyogo, you've got to get him at the sharp end of the attack, and then you've got to give him the ball. Try and get some crosses in and try and hit the byline. I think that's the big issue for Celtic at the moment. Is you've got maybe on Saturday you had Kyogo up against 3 big centre halves. Now, with the greatest of respect to guys like Bevis Mugabe, the movement of Kyogo is way too good for guys at that level, and Celtic just didn't make the most of that. He was making runs in behind. He wasn't getting found. They didn't get the ball wide and get crosses in. I think that's the way you hug teams like that who are playing in a low block. All too often Celtic came inside and played to what Motherwell wanted them to do. Just kind of those congested areas. Sure. And Kyogo's run was wasted, because he was making a run and you could see him throwing his hands up because he wasn't found. And I felt sorry for him on Saturday, I've got to say. Just wasn't really involved in the game. I think it's like a similar debate, obviously different level maybe, but you think about Haaland down at Man City. There was a massive debate about him when he first came to Man City. He didn't suit the style, and he had to kind of adapt a little bit, but they had to adapt to him as well. Celtic had a winning formula with Kyogo, so I don't really understand why you would move away from that, apart from the fact that your personnel are missing. So I'm going to give Brendan the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to say that when the likes of Maeda, the likes of Tati come back, I think we'll see Kyogo revitalised again, and we'll see him staying where he's supposed to stay, which is at the sharp end, putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But you look at the last goal he scored, that's his currency, that's his bread and butter, isn't it? When Matt O'Reilly get into the byline and squaring it across and that tap in, because he's made that near post run. So you say it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it, but somehow Celtic aren't finding them with the regularity that they were in the past couple of seasons when those goals seemed like to a penny for them, weren't they? Yeah,
absolutely. And as you say, I don't have any doubts about his ability. I don't think it's really on him as such. That he's had this tail off. Yeah, I think he's missed a few chances this year as well, don't get me wrong, but every striker does. I think the key to it is, as I say, touch wood, when a few bodies come back. And that's obviously the wider question of Celtic summer recruitment. Then you go into, you can go down that rabbit hole if you want, because the guys coming in obviously aren't quite at the level of the guys who are missing, I think. And not only that, I think the drop off is quite stark.
Yeah, indeed. Now there was many issues on Saturday as well, Graeme, and another one was maybe the goalkeeper Joe Hart and his star jump attempt to. I don't know what he was trying to do with that corner that's coming in the last minute, but if I'm a goalkeeper, I'm coming out to punch that and clear that, and you're a protected species as well, so the only one that can use your hands, and it wasn't a great delivery, it was decent enough, but I think that and also as well we talk about organisation and defence, and John Obika against Greg Taylor was a bit of a mismatch, wasn't it? So so many things wrong with that, the concession of that goal, but you can pick whatever fault there. Taylor being weak against Obika, or Joe Hart just, I don't know what attempt that was, non-attempt, but he should be coming out and punching that away, should he not?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I was quite puzzled on Saturday that when Motherwell went a goal down, you saw they went to the bench and they sent on Theo Bear, Connor Wilkinson, they had John Obika who come on just before that. They basically said they're on the Harlem Globetrotters, do you know what I mean? So it was quite obvious what they were going to do, and they were going to play for set plays, get the ball in the box as much as they could. I'd have thought Brendan would have brought on Nat Phillips at that point, to be honest, to try and just go to a back three, match up, shore it up, see the game out. Decided not to, and then you end up in a situation where you've got Greg Taylor, as you say, marking John Obika. But on the sort of specific issue with Joe Hart, I think concentration is an issue for Joe. I've got to be honest with you. I think when he's playing for Celtic in a game like that on Saturday, where he has nothing to do practically for the entire game, he seems to have a need to get involved in proceedings sometimes. If you look at the incident in the first half, where Motherwell just put a bread and butter long ball over the top, and Joe decides to come for it, and suddenly, Celtic are a real bother. Blair Spittle gets to the ball first, knocks it over him, and Celtic were very lucky not to concede a goal at that point. Then he's got nothing to do again until the last minute, literally nothing. And then the one thing he had to do, he got it all wrong, and I think, I'm not really sure what his attempt was, as you say, he kind of closed his eyes and came out and did the old Patrick Starfish, so, but I think, there was so much wrong with the goal from Greg Taylor marking a big unit like Obika, but then Joe Hart's got to come and help him in that situation. You can see he was struggling. Hart should come out and be taking bodies, clear Obika out, clear everybody out, and just get that ball away.
That's what
he failed to do that. And do you know what? I really like Joe Hart. I think he's been a great goalkeeper for Celtic. You cannot underestimate the value of him round about the dressing room and all the rest of it. His leadership qualities. But as I said, I think before, I think his on-field contribution now is slipping into that sort of category where he's worth more off the field than he is on it. And I definitely think, in fact, I know it's an area Celtic are looking at with an eye to the future. Obviously, given his age, you have to do that anyway, but I would be surprised, I've got to say, if Joe Hart is Celtic's number one come the start of next season.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Stevenson comes in and says Celtic cannot defend a corner or score from one. It is kind of startling that Celtic can convert corners, and the goals that they concede from corners as well, or set plays, as you say, seem to come back to bite them. And Brendan Rodgers was saying these things are important in the game. Of course, they're important in a game of football. They can win you points, lose you points, cost you points, so and it clearly did on Saturday.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what the exact stats are, but I think it was something like Celtic had 14 corners and Motherwell maybe had 2. And Motherwell scored for 1, and Celtic, I don't think they created a chance for a corner just from memory, so there is a kind of lack of height in the team, out with guys like Phillips. Obviously, Carter Vickers isn't the biggest centre half ever. He's a powerful big guy, but he's not the tallest. And I think there is a kind of that's a string that Celtic don't really have to their bow. Is a real physicality about the opposition box and in defending their own box. So yeah, I agree with him completely there. I think that's something that has to be addressed because we've got so many corners, 14 corners, and you do nothing with them. That's a concern.
Corners and penalties, I think, are the
set plays in general, I think.
Seem to not be able to capitalise on either or. But there you go. Lots of comments coming in about stuff that we'll be speaking about, so I'll try and flick some of them up, Graeme, and we'll address them as we go along. Doc 1967 says no other elite coach would take a player who scored 34 goals in 50 games and playing in a deep role with no other striker on the park. Brendan Rodgers is trying to recreate something here that wasn't broke. I think we're in agreement with that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of chat at the start of the season. I think it was quite interesting to hear the players saying that Brendan hadn't really changed all that much from what Andrew's trying to do. So the likes of Greg Taylor, for instance, was saying he's been asked to play inside the field and still contribute in the midfield area and all that. But I think the evidence is there for you all to see that he has now tinkered a little bit more with it, I think. And it's went back to the style, the more sort of patient build-up, a lot of passes, which I know the fans don't often like, passing for passing's sake. So yeah, I agree that it's kind of went back to that, dare I say it, final season of Brendan from the first time around, where it just was a wee bit ponderous and there was passes being made when a more direct pass was probably the better option.
A bit laboured approach, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lanky's saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyogo leaves in the transfer window. You can tell he's not liking the setup and it's playing on his mind. not so sure about that, but there you go. Morning, boys. Yeah, Kyogo was anonymous on Saturday. He looks frustrated. The build-up play was too slow, and there wasn't any space for him. I think that's what we've been. And Francis Leicester coming in the penalty issue. Morning, Francis. For me, missing penalties shows a lack of mental strength. They're going up with missing on their mind. My ball saying absolutely no service to Kyogo. Hazel Finn, morning Hazel, how you doing? It's frustrating with the service to Kyogo. He's gone from a 30 plus goals a season man to, and if Brendan Rodgers doesn't sort it out, she can see Kyogo looking for a move as well. Stephen Mitz is saying playing Kyogo's like a man down at the minute. And Michelle Danks is saying our Celtic's two best players, Kyogo and the captain, have really struggled this year. And Francis Leicester comes back in and says it's definitely Rodgers' fault. Kyogo's been told to drop for link-up play and he's not having that. It's just stupidity for a man who's scored over 30 goals over the last 2 seasons. He has to play as an out-and-out number 9. That's my sentiments exactly, Graeme. Playing as a striker, and Kyogo scored most of his goals with tap-ins from 6-yard box, creating 2v1s out wide and firing the ball across goal. Now we have guys wanting to cut in and shoot. You were talking about that, about the 2v1 situation and those kind of bread and butter goals, and which were his trademark, really, weren't they? And Hazel Finn coming in and saying a bad or two is a big miss for getting in behind. I agree with that as well. So a lot of issues there. Yeah,
I agree. I think it is hard. Well, sorry, it's easy to forget that just a couple of weeks ago Celtic did put 6 by Aberdeen. It's not as if it's not as if there's too much wrong. I think there's just wee areas that we brushed up on, and I agree. I think it was Doc that said there about the guys cutting inside and try to get shots away. That doesn't play to Kyogo's strengths. That's the thing. You need to get down the lines. You need to put balls right across the goal, and he'll sniff out chances. The setup at the moment, unfortunately, is that it's just not getting the best out of Kyogo. I don't think it's getting the best out of Celtic, and I think it is making Celtic a lot easier to play against for teams who are determined to come and defend their box.
Like I say, Saturday with the low block.
Exactly. You look at Motherwell. They came there and they're running 9 games without a win. They were losing goals left, right, and centre. Lost 4 to Aberdeen. Lost 2 to St Johnstone, 3 to Ross County, 2 to Hearts, and then only lose a penalty goal at Celtic Park. It's incredible. And I actually think that Celtic just made it far too comfortable for them. Didn't stretch them. Didn't ask questions in behind. I think Hazel said there, I think Abada is a big miss in that regard as well. And as I say, with the guys cutting inside, it just makes it far too easy to play against Celtic at the moment.
It was the same story against St Johnstone earlier in the season, wasn't it? When St Johnstone hadn't won a football match and came to Celtic Park and got the 0-0 draw by doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Brendan can he'll probably point to the results and he'll say, we've won every game but 3 this year and we've had 3 draws. The 3 draws, though, I think were very similar. They were all very similar. Look at the game at Easter Road. Struggled to create anything. No width. Kyogo cutting an isolated figure. Exact same on Saturday against Motherwell. Exact same earlier on in the season against St Johnstone. And a major, major problem as well is the backup option to come off the bench, Big O. I don't think is at the same level. In fact, I don't think it's anywhere near the same level as what the likes of Giakoumakis was when he was the man coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. I think on Saturday, tried to go 2 up in the second half, put O on there. Didn't get a sniff either, really. He had one chance where Yang kind of got in his way a little bit. And I think there is a definite issue here in terms of if we're not getting the best out of Kyogo, what is there on the bench? What's the alternative? And at the moment, I don't think that's really up to scratch either.
And I also get bringing guys on, but I was also puzzled by bringing Lewis Palmer off. I know he had the midweek exertions in international, and that probably with the travel and all that probably played a part in his thinking. But Lewis Palmer was good for just turning on a ball and hit one from 25 yards. You took an outlet where you could have won the match. Hit a fortuitous, not so much a fortuitous, but a Ross County like effort. When he just picks it up and he slams it into the net. So I was a bit puzzled by that substitution as well, because I'm thinking he's still a potential match winner, and I know he's missed a penalty, but I think there's a bit in you if you do that. You want to atone for that, don't you? And I thought Lewis Palmer would have been best served staying on the pitch. He played all those minutes, so I think he could have lasted the game.
I wonder how much that was premeditated, Tony. I think because of what happened obviously he didn't get back until Friday, didn't he not?
Yeah.
And then, but the thing is, he's suspended obviously for tomorrow night, so
yeah, I know.
You could have left him on, and then just he's getting the rest during the week this week. So yeah, I think it's a good point. I actually agreed with the move to bring Turnbull on because I thought, as you said there, Tony, there was a lot of space just in front of the box. Yeah, Celtic. I mean, the crowd were going bananas at one point because they kept passing into that area and having the chance to shoot, and then it was a sideways ball. It was a ball out wide, and you're like, oh, come on, just somebody have a go. I think Greg Taylor was the only one that actually pulled the trigger on a couple of occasions. So somebody like Turnbull can score for there. Lewis Palmer can certainly score for there. Yeah. So I was very surprised that, as you say, when he took Palmer off, but it just made me think it must be a physical thing. He must have been taking the exertions of the international week into consideration there, I think.
Brian McGinty saying he thought taking Kyogo off was ludicrous as well because Celtic needed a goal and he took the best goal scorer off, but I think he took him off because I think I had more touches than Kyogo sitting watching it from my house, Graham, you know what I mean? So it was
I kind of agree with him there, by the way, because I think you just never know.
As well.
The ball's ricocheting about the box. Look at that chance in the last seconds when O'Reilly comes barreling into the box. And if Kyogo's around there, he could maybe just sniff that out at the back post, touch it in, But there was no... I'll be honest, I didn't really understand that one either, because as much as he's not been in the game, you've seen it before where he's not been in games and he's popped up the goals, and towards the end of the game where Motherwell were tiring and the ball was going to be in the box, who do you want in there? So I agree with him. I thought that was a bit surprising.
It takes a second for Kyogo to spring into life in a football match, and usually when he does, he scores a goal, doesn't he? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, Graham, you are in Italy. You're in Rome, as we can see in the background there.
Yes.
I've got a small matter of the Champions League game tomorrow night. It's a must-win for Celtic. There's no grey area on that one. Now, you spoke to the players, the manager after it and stuff like that. Are they still upbeat? Do they still feel that they can do this mission impossible and get through to the knockout stages of one of the European competitions?
They do. They're not going to say any different, obviously, but no, they seem as if they're quite optimistic. I think there's a kind of burning desire to put a few wrongs right over here. Not just because of what happened in Madrid. I think obviously that was a real sore one. I think Joe Hart said in Sunday's paper when we spoke to him, he was saying, that was a real kind of a bone of contention for them because they were down to 10 men, and it's the first time they've really felt as if they've taken a doing in the Champions League over the course of the last 2 years. They really, even the Real Madrid game away, they competed a lot better in that game than they did in the Atletico game. So I think there's a desire to put that right, but also from what happened against Lazio at Celtic Park, where, I mean, in my view, Celtic should have won the game. Obviously, the Palmer goal chopped off, but I think the chances they created, the dominance they had in that second half in particular, deserved to win that game. And then they switch off last second, and obviously Pedro has the header. And, I think the Celtic players are fed up talking about the lessons they're learning and the improvement they're getting and all this kind of thing. I think the time for that is gone. I think
the lessons they're not learning, Graham.
Well, exactly that. I mean, we all know at this level, if you switch off, you're going to get punished. They know that, but yet it still happens. So I think they're wanting to show that, we can concentrate for 90 minutes, we can defend well, and obviously we can cause problems at the other end. The big issue, I think, getting into the game, obviously, is going to be how are they going to create chances, because Palmer's out, Maeda's out. Who do you go with in the wide areas? You're really looking at Yang and maybe James Forrest, I guess, if he's back. Obviously, the problem is glute at the weekend, and he was left out of the squad, but I think that probably was with an eye to this game, and we all know how much Brendan loves Jamesy. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in, but I think it's going to be more about how Celtic defend tomorrow night, and then hopefully they can just nick a goal in the counter. But I think having a strong defensive base is going to be the sort of key if Celtic are going to get a result here.
Would you risk Tilio tomorrow, Graham?
No. I mean, listen, I've not seen him behind the scenes. Brendan Rodgers will have seen more of him than I will have. But I think 10 minutes against Motherwell to then come into a Champions League game against Lazio. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
It's a huge ask. I was just being devil's advocate there. Just say, would he risk him?
No, I mean, it'd be a big shout. That. I mean, don't get me wrong. He threw Palma in at Feyenoord straight away, didn't he? And he did all right over there. But I think that was more sort of, again, Leeds must lacky bodies. I think they've got a couple of guys there that can play in Forrest and Yang, who got a wee bit more. Well, obviously, Forrest got a lot more experience. So I think they two will start. If you were going to push me on it, I don't tell you what. Maybe he'll come off the bench, but I can't see him being thrown into a game like this.
Do you think Celtic need more than divine intervention? I know the team's getting an audience with the Pope at some point during this, Graeme. I take it that's not extended to people like yourself, no?
No, I went up to chat with Dor yesterday, Tony, but I was wanting to ask him about the kind of the late penalty Rangers got, but he wasn't for it, so.
Indeed, yes. But I mean, we're being flippant there, obviously, of course. But I mean, Celtic are still in it. They've still got a chance, Graeme. It's a slim one, but as you say, a lot of the players do feel they're still smarting from the Atletico Madrid performance, because, as you say, it's the first time they've felt that they've really kind of capitulated, haven't they? Because even when they were down to 9 men against Feyenoord, they fought well. Came away with a 2-0 defeat. And as you said as well, in the Real Madrid game, they were still going forward and they were creating chances. Even missed a penalty that night as well. Josip Juranovic missing that too. So, and there was a lot of positivity surrounding kind of those performances, but certainly not the last one against Madrid's been negative, hasn't it? And I think they want that out of the system, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think discipline's going to be key. It goes without saying, keeping 11 men in the park would be kind of a good start anyway. Because they've really, the 2 away games of the Champions League, they've really kind of hurt themselves by moments of indiscipline. I feel a bit sorry for Maeda's red card, I've got to say. I don't think, I was at the game, I don't think it was a red card. In real time, it's just 2 guys going for the ball. One gets there a wee fraction of a second earlier, and the still image makes it look a lot worse. So, but Celtic have to learn from that as well. We talk about the lessons. Sometimes you can't even just dive into challenges like that, because number one, in this competition, the teams are very good at pressurising referees. Atletico are a massive of it, obviously. Yeah. And I think a lot of the decision he made was based on the fact that Simeone and his players were all over the top of the ref. And it really painted them in a corner, So Celtic have got to learn from that. The bar for sending them off is a lot lower in Europe than it would be in Scotland. So they've got to learn for that. Keep 11 men in the pitch. As I say, be disciplined defensively. And I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that Celtic get a result here. Lazio haven't been going great guns. I don't think they're as good as some of the Champions League teams that Celtic could have got. And I think if they're going to get a result away from home in Europe, this is the place to do it. And we'll know, obviously, famously, Celtic have been here before and won a game in the not too distant past. Yes. So, although they don't have like Grand Marilla anymore, but you're probably going to need that kind of performance with Joe Hart. And maybe it's a night for him to show that he's still got a lot to offer Celtic, who knows.
Yeah, Maestro 95 coming in saying, onwards and upwards, these are the games that Celtic could do something. Gordon Flowers saying, maybe Lady Luck will be on Celtic's side tomorrow. Brian McGinty saying, Palma will be missed. He's a class act tomorrow. You can hear my dogs going absolutely crazy in the background as well. But there you go, occupational hazard. But yes, indeed. Now, Graeme, you'll be there tomorrow night. I guess you're looking forward to that one, eh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's a iconic venue. As you say, Celtic have had some good times here before. I think a few fans have started to arrive anyway. Obviously we come out a day early to get the press conferences and everything. But there's a few Celtic boys on my flight yesterday, and listen, talking to them, they seem quite optimistic. I don't know if that was the Moretti talking or what, but there's a good feeling about the place, and I don't know. I mean, I might be well wrong here, and often I am, Tony, but I just get a feeling Celtic might get a result tomorrow night. I think it's now or never for me.
I think their hand is forced, and when you're in a win or bust situation, I think sometimes that brings the best out in you, doesn't it? And through adversity, you do get a result. And as you say, they don't have to look too far back to see that they can go to Rome and they can win. So I think they've got that going for them as well. So yeah, I won't say I'm confident in any stretch of the imagination of getting a result, but like you, I think maybe there's a kind of, I just think they're due a bit of fortune in the competition at some point. A bit of good luck, bit of the rubber of green, call it what you will, but we shall see what happens.
I think as well, Tony, a point I wanted to make was I saw Callum McGregor get a lot of stick after the game on Saturday. I think, as I said, 2 weeks before that against Aberdeen, he was sensational. I thought he was brilliant. And Motherwell obviously decided to put 2 men on him, essentially, on Saturday and just kind of stop him playing. I think there is a school of thought, if you stop Callum McGregor, it goes a long way to stopping Celtic. I don't think it'll be quite as tightly marked tomorrow night. I don't think they'll give any special treatment to Callum, and I'm really looking forward, and I'm really hoping that he steps up with a big performance, a big captain's performance tomorrow night, and shows that he's still the leader of Celtic. He's still got the ability to drive Celtic forward. I think he does get sucked in a wee bit too much playing these sideways passes. I don't know if this is an instruction from the manager recently. I think that's been creeping more into his game, but I'm really hoping for a big performance from him, and I think Celtic will need that if they're going to take anything.
Yes, I think so too. And, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that can happen, Graeme. Just as you say, fingers crossed that Celtic keep 11 men in the park, give themselves every chance to win the football match. If they get set pieces, hopefully they're a wee bit more clinical. If they get a penalty, they're drawing lots for who takes it, aren't they? If they get a penalty, it'd be like one of those ones, I don't want it, you take it, that kind of thing.
Just get big Cameron up to put his foot through it, that's what I would do.
Big Cameron to do the Tommy Gemmell and take the goalkeeper into the net with the ball and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Take the ball, the net, everything.
Indeed. Now, I believe you've got work to do today. You're going to press conferences and stuff today, aren't you?
I am, mate, yes, unfortunately. I'd like to just go and do some sightseeing, but I have to earn my keep. So, yeah, get up to the Lazio training ground just shortly to get their sort of take on things. Hopefully there's a translator present for both of us. And then the Celtic press conference, that's tonight up at the Stadio Olimpico. So, yeah, look forward to that and hearing what Brendan and the boys are kind of feeling about this.
Because I can hear noise in your background, but also I can hear my dogs. They're going absolutely tonto for some reason. So I think we'll call it a day there. But I want to say thank you for joining me from Rome, Graeme, and have a wonderful time. It's a great place. I got engaged there on my 40th birthday on the Bridge of Angels. No less.
I saw the plaque earlier on, mate.
The chippings like that, yeah. That kind of stuff, indeed. But yeah, so have a wonderful time. Enjoy the game. Here's hoping Celtic can produce a performance.
Thank you, mate. Keep
yourself in the hunt to qualify for one of the competitions. It'd be great to see them do that. Now, just want to say, MPH Group for all your plumbing, heating and kitchen and bathroom needs, and as well as a Navi and promotion. You can see all the links to their social media websites in the description of this video, and we thank them for the sponsorship of the Celtic Way Morning Briefing. And to flag this up again, this is our best ever deal, guys. The 2.5 years that we've been going around, £12 for 12 months of access to everything that's written on the website. We can't do it without you. If you enjoy the videos like this, the YouTube videos, which we do for free, we need subscriptions to help us keep doing what we do on a daily basis. And we thank everybody that's taken up the offer. Since Friday, you've got till this Friday to take it up if you want to do that. Hit that button, guys. We try and provide top quality football journalism covering the club you love, and it's that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thank you for that. But £12 for 12 months of access, we think that's outstanding value. And speaking of outstanding value, Graeme, you've been outstanding value today, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're a busy man. Appreciate it. I always do. Have a good time, as I say. Guys, we shall reconvene tomorrow. We'll talk everything Lazio Celtic. See if Celtic can produce that performance. But thank you, Graeme, for your time. Guys, have a good day, and we shall see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Thanks, Todd.